Former President Donald Trump's safety is once again back in the headlines after the Secret Service stopped another possible attempt on his life.
But anger is growing this morning. How could it happen again? Joining us now is Tony Kinnett, investigative columnist with the Daily Signal. Good morning, Tony.
Morning.
Looking at this from your viewpoint, what are investigators missing here to better protect the former president?
The first question is, how on earth are we looking at a second situation in which a perimeter should have been established? And with the primary candidate who is leading in the polls in this particular election cycle, with threats already avoided, with assassination attempts already survived, and we don't have an established perimeter. When I was at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee shortly following the first assassination attempt, there were 12 different state police agencies on the ground. Ohio State Police actually stopped a man committing an attempted stabbing 2 miles away from the perimeter. That's how serious security was at that particular venue. And then just a month later at the Democratic National Convention, security was back to being lax again. And now here we have a guy that was able to get 300 to 500 yards within the former president, even if he weren't running for election. This is a terrible breach of security. And Biden coming out this morning and saying that maybe the Secret Service needs more help to keep the former president of the United States safe. I would say that might be the understatement of the century.
Look, as you pointed out, protection has reportedly increased since that first assassination attempt, at least initially, right? But does more need to be done to protect our former president, other nominees, our elected officials in general? I mean, this has now happened twice in 9 weeks.
I think that you make a really good point there. There should be no one that has a firearm anywhere remotely near Vice President Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Tim Walz, J.D. Vance. These are people that are running for office when there are foreign nations like Iran and Russia that are openly meddling in U.S. elections. Iran and the mullahs basically bragging about wanting individuals to assassinate members on the Republican side of the aisle, but certainly would be more than happy to see chaos by anyone running for election assassinated. This is a time when we need to take the security of those running for office or who are in office very seriously. Of course, we remember Steve Scalise being shot at the congressional baseball game a few years ago. We really need to take these issues seriously because we're in an age where we've never really seen security threats like these. And when institutional trust is already at an all-time low, we need every agency to do everything they can to make sure that these individuals in these high-risk situations are protected. That's how we start to restore some of the trust and, most importantly, God willing, keep our candidates safe.
Tony, talk to us about the suspect. He's not speaking yet. As we look in his history, there are a lot of traffic violations, some run-ins with the law. Any red flags that we should be aware of that you're uncovering? And should the president at this point only do indoor events? I mean, granted, he was golfing. This is what he normally does. So how does he move forward from this?
So first of all, I would really like to offer some praise for Merritt Street for not saying, like Time magazine did this morning, that his political ideology is very uncertain. That's not the case. After his vehicle was pulled over, other things owned by this individual show that he is an individual who's donated to far-left campaigns, that he is currently echoing sentiments and statements from a particular nominee for president at the moment, and that his political ideologies do appear to be on the left. That said, the red flags for this individual suggest that he's been moving towards radical ideology and making violent moves past just being on the other side of the aisle for some time now. As to how that plays in to what could have been noticed and avoided, we don't know all of the details yet. And so again, offering praise to Merritt Street that you guys haven't started, like some outlets have, suggesting kind of deeper conspiracies before we know the investigation. This is such a very particular time in which we have to get all of the information out to people in the country, but we don't want to make any kind of statements that cause some kind of catastrophe from unfinished information.
Absolutely. You know, we stick to the facts here, and many are pointing to inflamed rhetoric as to why some of these incidents are taking place. So we thank you for acknowledging that, and we will always present the facts and let the viewer decide. Thank you very much, Tony.